Hey guys, it's me, Kid Kerrigan. I mentioned on Twitter that I swapped from Adobe Premiere Pro to DaVinci Resolve. I've been absolutely raving about DaVinci. I think it's the best thing ever. And a lot of you guys are wondering why that was, what my decision behind it was. And so now we have this video that I will be calling 10 things that I hate about Adobe Premiere that I love about DaVinci. Rather than making it kind of negative, it's like, yeah, okay, the title's a little bit clickbaity, whatever. I'm actually going to tell you 10 things that I really love about DaVinci and why I prefer them to the counterparts in Premiere Pro. The thing that prompted me to swap over was that I just had to cut costs. And I've been looking for alternatives to the Adobe Creative Suite because they basically just gave you two options. One is a Photoshop bundle that's like $30 a month or something like that with a whole bunch of other crap in it that I do not need. Or you can get the entire Creative Suite for between 80 and 90 Australian dollars per month. So currently I'm cutting about $600 a year out of my budget by just swapping Premiere and Audition out for other tools. I'm still getting used to Affinity, which was brought to my attention as being an alternative for Photoshop. So right now I'm still getting used to that. And I do have the Photoshop subscription for like $30 a month or something through Adobe, but there's still a whole bunch of stuff in there that I'm not using. I'm completely supportive of the subscription system in that they're always doing constant updates to these apps, but not being able to choose which services I actually need is a massive detriment to me continuing using their products. So having these alternatives is really awesome, and it's really cool that we've finally gotten to the stage where we have free, if not at least cheaper alternatives to this super expensive Adobe Creative Suite. So here we go. My first thing that I love about DaVinci is I literally started using it less than a week ago. I learned how to use it in 2 to 3 days on a couple of different videos. First, just like a really quick video that I wanted to get out on Twitter, and then some actual like feature length videos. And overall, the process for being ridiculously picky and perfectionistic about how I wanted those videos to turn out was by far a faster process than using Premiere ever was for me. And this is learning the program from scratch. I had not opened it before. Granted, I do have a lot of background knowledge from using Premiere for such a long time, so it was a little bit easier for me to pick up. However, some of the keybinds and terminology are a lot more related to Final Cut Pro, which I have never used personally, but there are so many tutorials on DaVinci Resolve on YouTube. Just literally go up to that bar and search for anything you need to know about this program and you will find it. Trust me. The second thing that I love so much, and probably one of the biggest winners for me with DaVinci, is the caption system. So Snuggybun on Twitch, who is amazing, go follow her by the way. She's a massive advocate for accessibility and for closed captioning both streams and video content. And she was quite instrumental in me finding a solution for my stream in particular that was really great for just lowering the barrier to make it really easy for me to provide that to people. So when I started trying to caption things in Premiere, there were so many things wrong with it, and I would want to go kicking and screaming to the ends of the earth. Some of the things that I love in particular about how captions are handled in DaVinci over Premiere are that the subtitles add to the actual playhead and not after the last subtitle. In Premiere, imagine you have a gap of space of 5 minutes before the next thing is said in the dialogue, and you're like, new caption. And it puts it 5 minutes ago. And every single time that happens, you have to zoom out and go and find the thing and try to zoom in again and then adjust it. And then happen to accidentally click off the caption onto the actual caption timeline. And then you move the timeline, so you have to control Z. And then it just becomes like a whole tug of war with like a control Z button and where the caption is going and like how far the caption is going to move across and then overwrite something else. And it just becomes a whole big deal. Not a problem with DaVinci. In DaVinci, the captions are on their own track. They're not on a track within a track because this isn't Inception. This is video editing. They have their own track. You can just right click, add title, super fast. I've been able to caption 10 to 15 minute videos within an hour to an hour and a half so far. And that's in the first week of using DaVinci. Captioning the same length of video in Premiere can probably take me at least 2 hours and a lot of hair pulling. Like a lot. Like I have gray hairs now, but they're also gone because I pulled them out. The next thing that I love about DaVinci is probably something that you could pull off similarly in Premiere. I just never got around to trying it, didn't think of doing it, and the workflow in DaVinci lends itself really well to optimizing your workflow. So that's what I did. It's really easy to set up hotkeys so that as you edit, you can slice, tag the clips as a certain color, go back and select all clips of a certain color, ripple delete, things like that. It can take a little bit longer to ripple delete every time you're making an edit. So what I do now, which I found is super fast, I have my number keys at the top of the keyboard, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., set to bind to color clips, various colors. So like pink, orange, whatever. And in my mind, each of those colors has a particular action associated with it. So for example, everything that's colored pink, I will eventually go back and ripple delete out once I finish that editing pass. And I noticed that doing that streamlines the editing process to make it super fast. You ripple delete everything in one go and then proceed with your next editing pass to kind of refine things a little bit. And that saves so much time other than just going through and ripple deleting each time and having to process each of those actions. Also, as I'm going through with the passes, I have other keybinds for marking certain sections of the audio where I need to censor later on, for marking various clips that either require a zoom in for a reaction or some other kind of animation. I want to make sure that I add a title here for later reference, a hashtag ad, or whatever it is that I need to do. And I just find that super easy and fast to do in DaVinci. Whereas every time I try to do this stuff in Premiere, it has to think for a second and then crashes, and then I lose 5 minutes of work. Speaking of which, DaVinci hardly crashes. I've experienced probably 2 crashes in the past week since using DaVinci, and they were quite hefty actions on my part that I accidentally did while I'm still trying to work out the quirks of the program. Whereas with Premiere, you save, it crashes. You Control Z, it crashes. You select something, it crashes. You add a title and it crashes. You cut and it crashes. You paste and it crashes. You open a file and it crashes. You close a file and it crashes. I don't know what more to say than that, dude. I feel like Premiere and DaVinci are kind of similar in this way. They both have relatively clean user interfaces. However, I do find that the DaVinci layout just works. They've really optimized the user experience in that program. I would love to be able to pop out some of the windows just to use the rest of my 3-monitor real estate, but I have noticed that I'm not lacking for it, and I'm not wishing for it when I'm using DaVinci. For example, maybe using the nodes in the color panel or things like that, that might be handy to have in a bigger space on another screen. But just being able to toggle the spaces on and off just seems to be enough for me. And I kind of like that it can train me to use the program in that way when I'm on my laptop as well. Whereas in Premiere, I always find that having the flexibility to open that many windows all the time, I literally have windows everywhere and I don't even know what I actually need and what I'm actually looking for at any given time. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You might prefer to have that type of flexibility, but I honestly just don't think DaVinci needs it. And that kind of lends itself more to the ease of use for, especially if you're newer to video editing, it's going to be easier for you to work out where things are that you need. I also love that the user interface lends itself to a very obvious workflow. You pull in your data, you do the base cut, you do your editing passes, colorize the video. The Fusion tab is more kind of your After Effects situation, so any titles or lower thirds or any animations and things like that you can do in Fusion. Move over to adjusting your audio, and then finally deliver the product. You can so easily just toggle between any of those steps whenever you need to, and in the viewfinder just select which clip or which project you need to be looking at. I find that super useful, and it really clears my head in terms of where I'm at right now. And yes, Premiere kind of has these features as well, but I just love the way that it's set up in DaVinci. I'm sorry. Being someone that does makeup stuff sometimes, I love The color capabilities of DaVinci. It is so easy for me to white balance my footage, especially if I'm doing makeup videos and things like that at my vanity, which has quite yellow flat light. It's not the best lighting setup because it's literally at an actual vanity and not with beauty lights like in this kind of setup. So being able to just hold up my white balance card and select it and automatically white balance to that card and then make some slight adjustments has been an absolute lifesaver. And I have never in my life been able to get even a similar effect out of Premiere. Ever. Ever. DaVinci has the easiest motion graphics editing software I have ever used in my life. It was one thing trying to understand how to use After Effects, but trying to do the same thing in Fusion takes me half the time once you understand how nodes work. Just look up some tutorials on it. It is so easy, so easy. I've never been able to achieve such clean and gorgeous animations and titles and things like that in such a small amount of time as I have with using Fusion. It's ridiculous. It's also literally in the same app. You don't need to open anything else. You just flick over to that tab and you do the thing. Similarly to Premiere, DaVinci is really easy to access things like effects and transitions. I think they pretty much work in the same way in terms of how you can just find them in the menus. In DaVinci, you just pop out the effects tab and you can find everything in there. However, the performance is so smooth. I just feel like Premiere is super clunky, and that's definitely something that I've been enjoying a lot more in DaVinci. Like, it makes me want to edit video. It makes me want to open the app and get in there and do stuff and kind of try to push it as far as I can. So yeah, that one's kind of even, but I mean, it's personal preference, I suppose, in terms of which effects are available in one versus the other. And that's up to you to find out. And number 10 is the no fuss ability to insert, overwrite, or just add clips into your dang timeline. There have been so many times that I just completely fuss over where the hell Premiere is trying to insert things into my timeline. It keeps overwriting stuff. I can't get it to go on top instead of on the bottom. It's just a massive pain in the ass. There probably is ways to do it, but if I've been using the app for this long and haven't worked it out and go into DaVinci and then in the next 3 days after using DaVinci, I can work out how to do that exact thing, that says a lot. That being said, even just editing overall in DaVinci is such a pleasure. You do need to be careful sometimes of the quirks of how you split certain clips and where they'll move when you ripple delete things. I love the flexibility of the editing and the fact that I can just turn that link on and off. There is a bonus point for Premiere here, and that is the presets. Premiere does have some cool features in terms of being able to save things as presets really easily, which I think DaVinci is kind of faltering in a little bit. For example, with the motion graphics and things like that, you have to save those settings out as macros versus saving them out as a title style. It's a little bit overly technical in that way, but it's really not hard at all once you get used to what that workflow is. So being able to export things like titles, being able to export transform information and things like that as a preset and copy that onto other clips, I found is super useful in Premiere. I'm still trying to work out if there is a way to do that in DaVinci. There probably is. It just is the 4th day that I've been using it. So I'm sure that that exists. If it does and you know, then chuck it down in the comments for everyone else to share that information. And I'd really appreciate that information as well. So that's it. That's most of the reasons why I ended up switching from Premiere to DaVinci. I might chuck in a little bit of a clip, a time lapse of me editing this actual video and showing you a final time of how long it took me to put it together. I've been really into trying to measure how much time I'm spending on all of these things lately. I don't know. I hope it helps. And I hope that this video helps you make the decision for yourself, whether Premiere is still good for your needs or whether you're looking for something a little bit different. I know that I was really stuck in my ways. I've always been someone who's really averse to change, but this has really opened my eyes. So if this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know that you enjoyed this video. I know this video is a bit different to the other videos on this channel. This is mostly my gaming channel, but I do have some tech reviews on here and there, so I figured this is probably a better place to put it than my IRL channel. Could be wrong. I don't know how YouTube does stuff these days. But anyway, I made this video for you guys because I just wanted to share this information so that I stop banging on my parents' faces about all of this stuff, because this app has completely blown my mind and I can't get over it, and I needed an outlet for telling people how I feel about DaVinci Resolve. And so here it is, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit the bell, subscribe on this channel and my IRL channel if you're interested in vlogs. Also, I stream on Twitch most days in the week as well, twitch.tv/KidKerrigan, so go give that a follow as well. I wonder how long it's going to take me to write that title. Oh wait, I already have a preset one. It's up there. There you go. Look at that macro. Look at it go. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next video or on stream. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.